This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in. I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day, and I hope all of the faithful is enjoying a fantastic weekend. Coming up, we're going to take a look at San Francisco's roster, player by player, heading into Week 1, and the Niners with some surprising developments on their depth chart here going into Week 1 Monday Night Football against the New York Jets. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the channel. My goal is to get the 49ers Report to 138,000 subscribers prior to our watch party against the Jets. We are 392 people away from that number. If you're looking for a Niners community that's unique here on YouTube, if you're looking for Niners content that is informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking, that involves you, because we love our audience interaction, hit that sub button right now. No surprises and no real developments in the quarterback room for San Francisco. Brock Purdy is QB1. The lone remaining question here for the Niners, who is going to be his backup? Is it Josh Dobbs or is it Brandon Allen? I frankly think that Dobbs outplayed Allen slightly in the preseason. I also think with some of the questions along this Niners offensive line, Josh Dobbs has more athleticism, more running ability. He's simply the more dynamic athlete. He would be the better option to replace Brock Purdy if Purdy were to go down. But I have to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised with Brandon Allen throughout the preseason, threw the ball with a little bit more zip. And he's a quarterback who Kyle Shanahan really likes because he gets the ball out on time, accurately, and in rhythm, allowing for his weapons to pick up yards after the catch. Flip the page to the running back spot. Some changes here from the start of training camp and from the end of last year. What doesn't change is the fact that Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the National Football League. 2,000 all-purpose yards last year, NFL Offensive Player of the Year, top 5 in MVP voting, and the Madden cover man. I think the Niners have to manage his workload a little bit better. Just because he led the NFL in touches last year, he's 28 years old. Niners signed him to a contract extension. You want to be able to preserve him. He's had a couple of calf injuries over the last couple of years, and you want to make sure that he's ready for playoff time. And the Niners have a great situation here because Jordan Mason is maybe the most improved player on the entire Niners roster from last year to this year. Runs with physicality, runs with precision, one-cut runner, which is perfect for Kyle Shanahan's outside zone scheme. I think he's due for a huge year if the 49ers give him some more carries. We'll see what happens with Isaac Guerendo. He tweaked his groin in practice this past Monday. Patrick Taylor surprisingly making the team, but he does have a lot of special teams value. Kyle Juszczyk, still the best fullback in the game. And in case you missed it, Elijah Mitchell out for the year because of a hamstring injury. He's going to have to get surgery on that hammy. Niners wide receiver room. Brandon Aiyuk was on the initial Niners 53-man roster, and now he's officially a part of this team for the foreseeable future after signing that 4-year, $120 million contract with $76 million in guaranteed dough. I think when you look at this receiver room here, San Francisco has the deepest receiver core in the National Football League. Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, Jauan Jennings, Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall, Chris Conley, and Ronnie Bell. You'd be hard-pressed to find another team that has this much depth, counting all of the quality wide receivers in a single receiver room among all 32 teams in the NFL. And I'm interested to see what type of impact Jauan Jennings can have with the larger role. Deebo Samuel had a terrific training camp. He's in much better shape. Aiyuk is now making $30 million per year. Do the Niners decide to throw it a little bit more? What can the impact be for Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, who I think are really the legitimate players? And Chris Conley had a great camp. He was awesome in the Super Bowl on that special teams unit. He's going to continue to be a special teams maven. Tight end. Maybe the biggest question mark on this offensive side of the football outside of offensive line. In fact, I think that is indeed true just because outside of George Kittle, who was the only tight end in the NFL last year to have more than 1,000 receiving yards, there are huge question marks here. Eric Saubert has never caught more than 15 passes in a season. Jake Tonges came out of nowhere to make the initial 53. That, another one of the summer surprises for the Niners. So if the Niners end up making a move here, whether it be soon, whether it be going into the NFL trade deadline. That would not surprise me. Hopefully, George Kittle, the people's tight end, can continue to stay healthy. Let's go to the offensive line. Maybe the biggest surprise on this unit is no Trent Williams. And some people might be confused by that, but this is why. Trent Williams is a holdout. Trent Williams is not a part of the initial 53-man roster because he is on the did not report list. And because he's on the did not report list, he is not a member of this 53-man roster because it would be stupid for him to occupy a roster spot. If he can't play against the Jets, if a deal doesn't get done, he continues to hold out, or he signs too late, Jaylon Moore will start at left tackle. Him protecting Brock Purdy's blind side against a very good Jets front, that scares me. Aaron Banks is expected to come back to practice next week, coming off pinky surgery. Niners going to go with Jake Brendel at center. They don't really have a better option. Dominick Puni, a stellar preseason and training camp. He earned the right guard role as a rookie. That's a positive development for this football organization. And I don't have to say much about Colton McKivitz. 47 pressures given up last year for San Francisco. If you are with me and you were worried about this Niners offensive line, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. I am very concerned about this unit because if Brock Purdy were to go down, if they can't give him protection and time to throw, if they can't run the football, it's going to be a concern. And we've seen this San Francisco offensive line struggle against good defensive lines across the league. San Francisco, are you with me? If you are, you can get one of your shirts right now. Chatsports.com/SF. These shirts available in red as well as black. That saying has become a part of the fabric of the 49ers Report, and you can rep the squad and rep the 49ers Report with these shirts right here. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Now we go to the defensive side of the football for the Niners. I really like the makeup of the front four. I think it's one of the best in the NFL. Nick Bosa, I think, is going to have a monster season after his sack numbers were down last year. Maliek Collins has been more productive, more available, and I think is a better fit for this team as compared to Eric Armstead, plus he's cheaper. There was a clip from him in that Raiders preseason finale in which he took on two players from the Raiders, threw them both to the side, and was able to stuff the run. I know that he hasn't graded highly against the run, but I don't think the numbers tell the full story there. I'm really excited to see what his impact could be. He could be the X factor for this defense. Javon Hargrave can hopefully have a bounce-back year, and Leonard Floyd is the best edge rusher opposite of Nick Bosa, maybe in Nick Bosa's career. Certainly going back to 2019. When Bosa was a rookie. He has 4 straight years of 9+ sacks. He's played in 108 straight games. He plays the game the right way, always hustling, unlike Chase Young, and has this twitch, bend, speed element coming off that edge that I think is really going to help out Nick Bosa. Linebackers. Dre Greenlaw, going to miss most of this year, I would imagine, because he tore that Achilles back in the Super Bowl in February, and he's nowhere close to coming back. I think DeVondre Campbell is going to be a pleasant surprise. His stock was down the last couple of years with the Green Bay Packers, but he was a first-team All-Pro back in 2021, and from what I saw in the preseason, he passed the eye test with flying colors. Fred Warner is still the best off-ball linebacker in the NFL, and what are the Niners going to do with that third linebacker? Will it be Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, who was a part of that fumble forced against the Raiders alongside Jair Brown? He's a really good special teamer, but can he be an every down linebacker? Will it be Dee Winters? Will it be Tatum Bethune? Curtis Robinson, another great training camp story. The Niners are deep at linebacker, but who's going to be that third guy without Dre Greenlaw? Cornerback, maybe the deepest cornerback room that the Niners have had during this current regime of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Charvarius Ward and Isaac Yiadom project to be the starters on the outside. I'm okay with Deommodore Lenoir being slot nickel because he's one of the best in the NFL. on the inside. He's given up 4 touchdowns in coverage his first 3 years in the NFL, and he was one of the Niner MVPs throughout training camp, just played stellar ball, and I like the depth here. After not making the initial 53, Rock Ya-Sin is back on the active roster. Darrell Luter Jr. is a young, promising player, and then Renardo Green, I think, is going to mix in as a rookie second-round pick, both outside and inside. Safety depth chart. So Talanoa Hufanga, if he's able to come back for week 1, will be the starter. If not, it will be George Odom. And it'll be George Odom alongside Jair Brown. George Odom's one of the best special teams players in the NFL, and he certainly made strides as a coverage safety over the summer. So the safety outlook all depends and hinges on the health of Talanoa Hufanga, who did return to practice this week in a very limited fashion. Niners specialists: Jake Moody, the kicker; Mitch Wishnowsky, the punter; Tabor Pepper, the long snapper. I know that some people have cooled on Jake Moody. They hated that he was a third-round pick alongside Cam Latu, and I can see why. I would not draft a kicker in the 3rd round. And everybody tries to rip him apart for missing that PAT in the Super Bowl. Did you forget that he knocked through 2 50-plus yard field goals in that Super Bowl as well? I still think that he can be a good kicker in this league for a long time, has a big leg, has a knack for making clutch kicks. Mitch Wishnowsky coming off arthritis. He replaces Presley Harvin, who had a good preseason, and then Tabor Pepper, a very reliable long snapper. We'll see what happens as far as the return game for San Francisco. I think with what Jacob Cowing was able to show throughout the preseason, after missing a lot of time with the hamstring injury, he's dynamic, he's slippery, and I think that he's the best option to be this team's punt returner. Look out for Ricky Pearsall and Ronnie Bell to potentially get some opportunities there. And if Isaac Guerendo can stay healthy, he is this team's best option at kick returner. 6 foot, 220, 4.3, 40-yard dash speed, dealt with so many hamstring issues in college, hamstring issue on the first day of training camp, has a 93-yard kickoff return against the Raiders, looked good as a running back, both running it and catching out of the backfield, and then on Monday, he tweaked his groin. Hopefully, he's able to stay healthy, because if he can, he is a unique athlete. Grade this Niners roster, A, B, C, D, or F. One of the best in-depth looks you'll have right here on YouTube on this Niners team. We want to hear from the faithful as always. And as always, thank you so much for watching the show.